Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.
It's Joe Pugh for IFL TV. We're here at the weigh-in for Galatia Fire versus Tommy Frank. Undercard, we've got Soul Dakers from S-Jam himself, straight from Las Vegas. Shane Watson, how are you, mate?
All good, mate. How are you going on?
Very well, thank you. I'm very well. Let's talk about Soul first of all. Good test for him. South African, southpaw. Gonna bring it on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, we probably made the fight harder for ourselves by accepting a southpaw at late notice. I think he's had 3 spars with a southpaw towards the end of camp, 2 with Dempsey McKean, and 1 with a local lad to Seoul. Yeah, we probably made it a bit more interesting, but just by the lack of notice and whatnot. As a pro, Seoul had actually never sparred a southpaw before. He fought plenty in the amateurs, of course, around the world, and he was used to late replacements and being southpaws and whatnot. But yeah, in terms of actually sparring southpaws, yeah, we've not had much preparation. But Seoul's the fighter that we believe he is and that we know he is. He should be dealing with people like Thompson in good fashion. Yeah,
get Chris Thompson out of the way, and then surely yourselves, him, got to be calling for those big domestic names, your Adelaides, your Wardleys and your Clarks.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. I mean, Fabio Wardley's got the belt that Seoul wants, a British title. Commonwealth currently vacant. I wouldn't mind Seoul going for the Commonwealth title in his next fight, and then having like almost a bit of a domestic clash up for the British and Commonwealth together. Usually what happens, those belts usually come together in like some kind of a domestic unification. So that's what I would like, but we'll see how it all pans out. I mean, I don't know what Fabio's promotional situation is at the moment. I saw something about him dealing with the Warrens directly. I'm not sure how true or what's going on with that, but it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. And if it's not him, there's Fraser Clark. If it's not him, there's David Adelaide. If it's not him, we'll go the international route and look at some big names going down that way.
As I mentioned at the start, you've just got back from Las Vegas, been out there for a long stretch with Joyce. How's he looking, and is he going to avenge that loss on September 23rd?
Yeah, he's looking terrific. He's in great form in the gym. He's in great form outside of the gym as well. It's been a pleasure to be around. He's training like a madman. He's changed a lot in his camp and a lot in his team. He's still the same team, but he's changed a lot within it. And he's looking great in sparring, and all those questions about a southpaw and stuff that people were having before, I don't think they'll have them questions come September 23rd.
Are we going to see a different Joyce?
You will see a different Joyce, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to act like Joe's going to change 1,000,001 things as a fighter and as a person, because we know what Joyce is and we know what he brings. He had a severe off night and he paid the price, but we'll see the old Joyce back come September 23rd.
Taking you back to last week, I know you was gutted, you missed it, but Johnny Fisher, he stole the show, and that was a show that included some big names, big heavyweights, and he really put on a performance where Eddie said it after the fight, you can't just look at him as a ticket seller anymore, you've got to look at him as a serious heavyweight prospect.
Yeah, I mean, it annoys me sometimes, probably because I'm a bit closer to him, but the people call him a ticket seller, or people call him a TikTok star and all this, mate, the guy's a serious boxer, and he was a serious boxer before all of those things. He was going out in Vegas when he didn't have much money, he was just at university to go and spar Joyce, which is a very dark place to be if you're not really a proper boxer, which he wasn't at the time, and sparring Dave Allen and whatnot. So yeah, he's more than just way more than just a ticket seller. You're starting to see it now. He's a champion in his own right. He knocked out a seriously tough guy. He boxed people like Joyce in the amateurs and whatnot. Had a close fight with Jamie TKV, represented Great Britain around the world. Let's remember that. And Johnny didn't just beat him, he knocked him out bad as well. Dropped him, it should have been twice beforehand, or knocked down and given him round 4. But dropped him in 15 seconds as well. I think he took a couple of rounds off. So I think he had a fast start in round 1. Yeah. And that kind of let Harry Armstrong in it, maybe 2 or 3 rounds. But then he went back on and went back on to do what he does better than anybody else, and knock people out.
What sort of opponent are we going to see next to Johnny Fisher? Because you still got to take the slow steps, but in that same kind of sense, you've got to keep the steps going forward.
Yeah, no, of course. Listen, it's not about being silly and getting over excited and listen to too much what some of the public think he should be fighting and whatnot. I think I would really like to see Johnny box abroad in his next fight. I think that'd be another cool part to the story, another experience, whether it's in America or somewhere else. I think that'd be really important. Get a nice international opponent. Then we can see what options there are next year, English title-wise and whatnot. Seoul's obviously got the English title, but I know he's not going to want to hold on to it forever, and he's going to be looking at bigger things, the British and Commonwealth, like I said. So it'd be nice for Johnny to make that step next, after the next fight, because I think it's important for Johnny Fisher. He's a very traditional man, so I think he should go the traditional route.
I'll be honest, mate, you nearly got an invoice coming through for a new camera on Monday because Florian Marku nearly smashed that over when he went for Chris Congo. Where did that all come from?
I think it was Chris Congo looking for an opportunity. I don't blame him, I respect it to an extent. He's looking for a fight, he's lost 2 of his last 4, so 50% losses on percentages in his last 4 fights. So he's looking for a fight. I'm not sure if Boxer have a deal with him anymore or whatnot, or if he's just looking to get in a big fight. With Florian Marku, I respect Chris Congo, he's a very good fighter, but the unfortunate position he's in, he's a decent fighter with nothing to bring to the table. That's the fact. If Florian beats, when Florian would beat Chris Congo, it doesn't put him anywhere nearer to where he wants to be. It's almost like stalemate for him. Whereas Chris Congo, it's an amazing opportunity for him, and I'm not really excited by that fight whatsoever. I'm looking at people like Adrian Broner and people like that for Florian. If we get past Dylan Moran, I mean, let's not forget he's got a very, very tough test in September 2nd anyway, and that's not going to be an easy contest by any means. And people are overlooking him. Dylan Moran is an exceptional amateur, and he's got a very good record as a pro as well. And this is an absolute world title opportunity for him to absolutely change his life. So you can't be looking past Dylan Moran. So I'm not entertaining Chris Congo at all. But even when we do beat Dylan Moran, I'm not looking at Chris Congo. Only reason being, we're looking at bigger and better things. We've got a superstar in Florian Marku. He's definitely got potential to be a pay-per-view star. He knows how to sell a show. He's got an all-action style. Fighting Chris Congo doesn't push us towards anything. But I like Chris. If Chris can go and avenge his defeats, but like what Florian said, and do some big things moving forward, then maybe it can happen one day. But right now, he doesn't bring much to the table.
Just away from your stable, Shane, what did you make of Anthony Joshua's performance last week?
Yeah, I mean, it was an exceptional KO, highlight reel knockout. I mean, before that, I thought he looked quite poor, if I'm being completely honest. There weren't a lot to be excited about early on. He was getting tagged a lot with the jab. Left uppercut got through a few times, where he started to see the damage under the eye. Obviously, he's bleeding from the nose and that as well. I'm just really hoping he can take a lot of confidence from getting the right hand off. So moving forward, we'll see a bit of a different Anthony Joshua. Watching some interviews of him and just seeing him box, I just feel like he doesn't like boxing anymore, and that's a worrying place to be. When you don't enjoy the sport and maybe don't have the same fire you once had for it, it's quite a lonely and dangerous place to be. So I'm hoping that's not the case. Hopefully it's just because he's working on things with his trainer and they're trying to gel together and learn how to work together, and then we can see a good Anthony Joshua, because even though we've got rival heavyweights and whatnot, it's good for boxing that Anthony Joshua's doing well, and Anthony Joshua's done a lot for British boxing, so I'd always want to see him do well in the sport, unless he's fighting one of our guys, of course.
Well, last thing then, I will ask you about that. Do you think we will ever see Anthony Joshua versus Joyce? They've gone back and forth on social media. It looks like Joshua will be going for Wilder. We know Joyce has got a very, very tough test that cannot be overlooked in Zhejiang on September 23rd. But surely for British boxing, one day we want to see that fight.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to beat Zhejiang first, which is a mammoth task in itself. Joshua's got an even bigger mammoth task in itself. If he puts on a good performance and loses to Wilder in a good performance, that fight can still happen. If Joyce becomes world champion, we can make our first defence against Anthony Joshua in Nigeria or something like that. It's all exciting things to do, but they've both got must-win fights before that. So, and they're both in really hard big fights against 2 devastating punchers. So they've both got a lot to come through. But yeah, maybe we could fight Anthony Joshua 70-30 in our favour or something like that, maybe.
Shane, thank you very much for speaking to IFL TV. The weigh-in is about to start, so I'll catch you later, mate.
Yeah, top.
For the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Kugan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.